Obviously, without naming names, what was that situation that you wrote that song about? That you like took some weight off your shoulders.
Okay, so it was this boy that I met while going
Not a
there.
man.
Not a man, because there's a difference. And let's just say like we first met and I like did feel this connection that I never really had before. Not gonna lie. And we texted each other and we were very friendly with each other. Like he would walk me to my car and he was very sweet. It wasn't until like one day he was like, "Do you want to hang out?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Yeah, so me and my girlfriend were gonna be there."
Oh no.
And I was like, actually I totally forgot. I had plans with my best friend, so I can't go. So anyway, that just continued and we just continued being friends, but it still felt like there was flirting coming from both sides.
Yeah.
And then eventually it just one day he like came up to me and he said, did you ever have a crush on me? Because me and my girlfriend were we had a fight and it was about you. I guess she saw some like really old text messages from us and
quote unquote really old text messages.
Really old text messages because I honestly haven't texted him in a while. So I was just like, what do you mean she's been looking through text messages that I barely even talked to you in a while through text. And he was like, yeah, I just want to know, like, were you ever interested in me? And I said, of course, I said no. I said no because if he did not feel the same way, I didn't want to be like, yeah, I liked you. And then he would say no. But he said yes. He said yes, he did have feelings for me. And I just was like, in my mind, I'm thinking, if you're not happy in your relationship, why are you still in this relationship? Like, what's the point? In my mind, I'm just thinking that. So till this day, he still doesn't know that I liked him. So he will probably never know. And that will be my secret.
Right. Well, unless this person listens to this, that's fine.
If he does, well, then he'll know.
But
and that's fine.
It empowered you in a way to write a song about it.
It did, because it was just something that, honestly, it did hurt my feelings because it was like emotions that I've felt for someone and that there was a connection there that I felt. And I know that he felt it too because he's definitely said it to me a few times. And it's just kind of weird, I guess, because I can't really do anything. I am not going to be the girl that like breaks up someone else's relationship. Yes. I'm never gonna be that person. So it's like, that's also why I never confessed to him that I had feelings that day. Cause I was like, he's probably gonna
go break something else.
Exactly. I don't want to break something for me. Like, it should be broken because you're not happy in your relationship, not because of me.
So, I mean, I'm trying to think through what leads someone to be willing to do this, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you already don't like the relationship that you're in, I guess there's like momentum. Is that because, I mean, we've been together this long, might as well just
continue on. Yeah.
Even though I'm gonna like start flirting with people. So I mean, I think there's a thing about being a boy. I've made these mistakes in the past.
Okay.
Where because there's no line drawn, you're okay with crossing it.
Yeah.
And it's just like this stupid, like, legal speak. Like, I'm not touching you, therefore, like, I'm still annoying you,
Yeah.
but I'm not touching you.
Right.
And that sort of childish, like, well, I'm not really cheating because blah, 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 and this thing. And so you become okay with the thing. And sometimes it gets even bigger than that. But you're still like, well, I didn't cross this line. Like, I didn't do this thing yet. Yet.
Yet. Yeah.
And so eventually you do cross a threshold. And then feelings are hurt.
Yes.
And this probably isn't exclusive just to guys. I'm sure there are
girls out there that do that.
But the longer that we allow ourselves to go, well, I guess this is okay, and I'm still kind of squirming around this way. I'm about to make a leap of logic, but like, it's the same way that people justify abusing their significant others in relationships and being the abuser or cheating on people or whatever it might be. You let that run long enough and you go, well, I'm not doing this, so it's okay. Or eventually it's just like, well, I have to do this or else blank. And so I'm going to hit my wife or like whatever that.
Yeah.
You can take that sample out of context and just say that I hit my wife. But I've said worse things hypothetically on this podcast. But gladly, I'm not running for some sort of political office, nor can I. So that's fine. But I don't know. I think that I guess I'm walking through it as more of just like if you've done this or if you've been on the other side of this, like, I guess this is the thought process that happens.
Because I definitely have thought about it. Because it's not just like I've heard other, even like guy friends that I've had that they'll talk about how they're not happy in their relationships and they'll talk to a girl or something. And I'm just like, you're not happy. Why are you still with this person? This person's also going to get hurt if you don't want to be with them anymore. Just tell them, you know? So then I'm like, is it kind of a good thing that I guess it didn't pan out? Because would I end up being the next girl that would he not be happy with? And then he would find someone else to be flirty with? That's also like where my next logic. Sense like makes me think like maybe it was a good thing that nothing panned out from it.
Sure. Also, is it your responsibility as the other girl or the other guy to tell either person? I don't know the answer. I'm just kind of speaking out hypothetically.
I think it depends. I think for this instance, because I honestly never did anything. If I flirted with him, it was mostly like when we were actually together. There was no like actual text messages that I would send that were like, that could be seen as like, oh, she's being flirty or anything. But I honestly feel like they should be the ones to tell their significant other that something's going on.
Sure.
However, I did receive photos from someone that we went to high school with, and I definitely did not ask for these photos. I don't even know why he even, like, I haven't spoken to this person in years, and they just felt the need to send me these pictures. And I saw that he was engaged, and I definitely did find his fiance, and showed her what he sent me.
Sure.
I don't know if anything happened from that, but I felt the need in that case to say something.
Does this happen to ladies often? I'm sort of saying that hypothetically, but I kind of know the answer.
Yes. Especially if you are on dating apps, which is why I do not have them anymore. I downloaded it twice, and I definitely do not plan on downloading it ever again.
Sure.
But yes, guys feel the need to like send me stuff or even say things. And I'm like, I just want to have conversation.
Right.
I don't want to talk about your dick.
Yeah.
Like, plain as that.
Yeah. I think Chris Ryan talked about it. He wrote a book about sex, but like, there's nothing magical about your penis. There's nothing like, oh, if she could just see it, maybe she will fall in love with me. Like, there's no magical thing about your penis. It, like, nobody's penis is great. It's awful.
It's just a thing that dudes have, and I'm like, okay, cool, I guess. Like, how do I even respond back to something like that? I feel like guys want me to say something like really dirty, and I'm just like, I'm not feeling anything for just a picture, especially from a dude that I don't even know. Like,
so I mean, there's some methods that I've seen, which is like, one is you could save one of those, and then the next guy that sends you one, you send them the other guy's dick pic.
You know, that's actually that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. So there's that.
Okay.
But then also, this is more of like there's this girl who her name's Alana Pierce. She's popular in the games industry or games journalism industry, and guys would send her like threats, like rape threats and death threats and stuff like that, because like she's very attractive, but she also has opinions on video games, and those are two things that you can't be, apparently. And so what she did was whenever a guy sent her, or multiple guys sent her like death threats and stuff, she would screenshot it and find their mom on social media and say, hey, your son sent me this. You should talk to them about it.
I love that.
Yeah. Because it doesn't matter if you're a grown-ass man or if you're like some, 16-year-old basement dweller. Like, once your mom tells you, like, are you verbally berating women on the internet? Like, you're probably going to stop.
Yeah. That would be so embarrassing. But at the same time, I am glad that she did that.
Yeah.
Find the moms and just send them the dick pics that these dudes are sending me.
Yeah.
I should do that.
Yeah. It's like, hey, your son just sent me this unsolicited. I don't know him, but he decided to show his genitals to me. So you should probably talk to him about that. You should
talk to him about, like, not talking to girls like this. It's not even talking. It's just, like, a picture.
Yeah. But, yeah, once again, there's nothing magical about a penis. It doesn't work that way.
It's honestly personality, guys.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, really? You just have to have a nice personality?
Yeah.
People have been looking for the answers for how to get women all this time, and it's just been like, be a nice guy?
Yeah, just be a nice guy.
But women hate nice guys. Don't you know this?
Lies. So many lies.
Because women only date douchebags.
Have I dated douchebags? Yes. But it's not on purpose. Like, I'm not looking for, like, ooh, who's the most dick dude in this school or in general. No. I think they're nice at first, and then I see their true colors, and I'm like, okay, they're a douchebag. Bye.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too, is that, like, guys put on this facade of like, well, like you were talking about this person earlier, like, oh, they'll walk you to your car, open the door for you. And then like once they're in, they're like, all right, well, I don't have to try anymore. Yeah.
And then I'm like, I still like those nice things. Those nice things didn't just disappear because we decided to be together.
Yeah. Yeah. But beware of fake people.
Yes. Yes. That has been something that's also been like, I want to get to know this person a lot longer before I even say anything that we're like a thing, because I don't want to get played.
Yeah. And it's like, it seems a little weird, but like asking your friends about them, asking their friends about them to see if like, oh, well, I think I like this guy. Should I,
is it worth it?
Or this girl, like, should I blah, blah, blah. And it's a lot harder in the heterosexual sense to do that with guys talking about women because it tends to devolve into like, oh, no, she's a slut, or, oh, blah, 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 or she's hot, and it's, like, really gross. And so ask guys who aren't meatheads if you're going to ask about a girl. But also, I also want to say that, like, locker room talk, as they say, is not acceptable. I think maybe because middle schoolers thought it was edgy to talk about girls in that way, and so it just gets normalized because no one in middle school knows what they're doing, and so it's like, oh, this guy that's in 8th grade is talking about girls this way, and I'm in 6th grade, and he's super cool. Nobody knows what they're doing. Locker room talk isn't okay. You could just respect people as human beings, but so I think we should even take it a step further and go, anytime anyone is talking that way about anyone in either direction too, I don't know if women talk this way about men, but it's like, if anyone's like, oh yeah, they're super hot, blah blah blah, and like objectifying them, maybe if you're hearing this, take a step in and be like, hey man, you sound like a douchebag, and you should probably treat women as human beings, or treat other human beings as human beings, because you're not going to get a whole lot of relationships that way if they find out that you're talking about them in this way.
So true.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, guys.
Yeah. But aside from that, yes, asking friends about another person to be like, hey, is this guy a douchebag? Because they're likely to tell you.
Yeah. That could save you a whole lot of time.
Yes. I mean, have you been the advice giver on that front?
Yeah. I mean, if people ask me for advice, I'll give you advice. But it's very rare that I will give advice just for the sake of giving advice, because I feel like there's a line, there. And unless it's like my best friend, like Jordan, if you're listening to this, I would definitely tell her straight up, like, I don't like this person for you. But if someone else was like asking me about relationship advice and they personally asked me, I would be like, okay, I'm going to give you advice. It's going to be really blunt. It's going to be really honest. Take it how you will. And maybe you shouldn't be with this person because of XYZ or whatever.
Yeah. Honesty is important. On that front, just to like take a side tangent here, how do you take criticism? Because sometimes I'm bad at it.
Oof. It depends on what it's about. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I'm bad at it too sometimes, like, because then I go into this like mental state, and it's not a good mental state to be in, where I'm like, maybe I'm trash. Maybe I'm not good. Why
Mm-hmm.
am I doing
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Why am I spending time on this? Should I just like look for a whole nother career or something?
Yeah.
Or like, if someone talks about, well, no one has ever talked about my weight, but like I will talk about my weight and then I'm like, I should lose weight. I should not be eating this. Why am I doing this?
Mm.
So, yeah.
I mean, it is much bigger in music because when we make music, it's so attached to us.
To us,
kind of like
yeah.
the identity thing that we were talking about. And so for someone to tell you like, hey, this wasn't as good, or you were kind of pitchy, or
like,
stuff like this, it's like, ow, this hurts me as
I'm being stabbed.
Yeah. This is a personal attack, but it's like, no, it's not a personal attack.
They're being honest.
I want you to be a better musician. And so, yeah, it's really hard for me, like as a composer, to receive stuff like that. And I have to ready myself or like afterwards convince myself like, no, that wasn't about me. That was about like, you did a thing and they probably know a little bit about this thing, especially because like lately I've been talking to professors and people with doctorates in music that are like, hey, you know, having a trumpet play this high in this range for a long time can be very exhausting. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, and don't take that as you are bad and you are a bad composer. And it's like, oh no, I should give up everything. Like, no, it's like, yeah, he's probably right.
Yeah, I just, man, when it comes to my own stuff, I'm like, I'll be okay in the moment, and then I go home and I'm like, man, I'm trash. Like, I need to just give this up. But I'm like, okay, I'm like, this is how the industry works. Like, people are always going to tell me stuff all the time. I just need to be like, okay, it's fine. This is going to make me a better person, a better artist.
Right. And if it comes from the right people,
from the right person, yeah.
If, you know, some guy in the band is like, that you only have like 2 classes with, is like, oh, you sounded kind of pitchy. It's like, shut up, dude.
You don't know me.
But if like Sephra is like, hey, maybe, you know, check those notes. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I definitely probably should work on that.
Yeah. You're like, Sephra, you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, if it's just some rando, it's like, shut up, dude. Where's your merit?
Yeah. You don't have one. Got him.
Why should I take singing lessons from a bass player? Whatever. I don't know. Singing and playing bass is hard, so I honestly, if there is a bassist that is a good singer and gives me advice, then I would take their advice twice over, because it's really hard to sing and play bass at the same time. But that's a whole other thing. Are you ever the advice giver or the critique giver?
Sometimes, yeah, but I always feel, because then I think about like me and how I would want someone to say it. So I usually try to say it like really nice and like, hey, like maybe that one part you should just like change it to something else. Like, I don't know. Or your pitch was just a little off. Like, if you did it like this, I think it would be fine. So I try to be really gentle about the critiques I give people or advice.
Yeah. Well, and then sometimes they'll go right back and just like trash themselves. Like, no, I didn't mean that. But
no, I'm sorry.
We were working on something yesterday, and a guy was like playing it, like just kind of like trying to get through it and like play it right. And I was like, you know, that I can change that if it doesn't have to be slurred. Like you can just tongue it all. And he was like, no, I'm just garbage. And I'm like, no, like I can change that if it's too hard. Like,
I'm glad I'm not the only one who like says stuff like that. I am trash.
Which I mean, like, yeah, we're musicians and we say that about ourselves often, and there are some people that I see. I don't know if you know him. He's even before my time at ACM, but a guitarist named Ted Tamayo. He'll constantly be on Facebook being like, I'm a trash guitarist and I suck at everything. And like, no, I've heard him play and he's really freaking good. But just times when he's like, I'm a trash guitarist and I suck at everything. It's like, no, dude, you're really freaking good.
Yeah, you should not think of yourself like that.
Yeah. But we're always holding ourselves to this ridiculous standard that everything has to be perfect. And there is something that I've been noticing whenever people talk about making music or performing music and stuff. There's sort of like almost like biblical sense that's going on whenever they're talking about like, oh, whenever the Beatles recorded this, they did this thing and that's how that turned out. Like that's the story, the legend behind the thing. And not really. Everyone was just kind of going through the thing and they made it.
Yeah. I'm like, technically we're all going through the thing. It's just how we come out of it, if we're like good or not.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's like anything really like magical or like, oh my God, the Beatles, they did this. We should maybe try to recreate it. I'm like, you should recreate your own thing.
Yeah. Exactly. If you become famous someday, there's going to be stuff on your records that people are going to be like, oh, how did you do this thing? It's like, oh, well, I just came in the room and like we tried this thing. This person tried this thing and I liked how it sounded. And so we went with that. And, you know, that's literally how any session would go. But then it becomes some sort of apocryphal story that it's like, oh, this thing happened on this recording. And
you get right exactly like it.
Yeah.
You could try.
Yeah. And that's actually something that I really enjoyed about taking production here is that a lot of students ask those questions. It's like, oh, how did they do this thing? Or how would you do this thing since, oh, you're this teacher and I really admire you. And it's like, well, they would always be like, well, I would do it this way. You can try it differently. And if you like how it sounds, then do it that way. And they like tried to dispel the magic of like, oh, what goes with this mic and this thing and this array of things. And it's just, do you like how it sounds? Is it cool? Good.
Keep it.
Go for it.
I think that's what I found a lot of like just asking Nick Lay or just like different people that music is honestly just like whatever you liked at that moment in time and you just like decide to record it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It's not, I don't think it's as magical, I think, of a moment like everyone thinks it is.
Yeah.
So just like mess with stuff.
Yeah.
Be adventurous.
Yeah.
Do something by accident, then maybe that's what you were looking for the whole time.
I do feel like improvisation is something that isn't emphasized enough throughout school. And I mean, especially for me coming from like more classical world, because I started band in middle school. And so everything was just like, do the notes on the page and make this sound good and stuff. But there was never any focus on trying to make stuff up and being good at making stuff up in the moment. And so even going into college when there would be in just like classes where people would just, hey, we're going to, make up a melody and here we go, improvise. They're like, oh, geez, I can't.
I can't.
And just try it. If it doesn't work, that's
Try
fine.
again.
Because we're just making stuff up here. We're literally just making stuff up here.
Yeah, I think so too. Because even like, one of my friends who goes here, his name is Ryan, and he does a lot of like EDM stuff. Like, there's been like once or twice that he just called me over to his place, and he's like, let's just make something, and then he'll drop it or whatever. And I didn't have lyrics already prepared or anything. Like, we made that stuff as we kept playing it over and over again.
Exactly.
And then it was like, okay, cool. We liked it. He made something out of it, and boom. And I'm like, wow. After like listening to him like master it and stuff, I'm like, wow, we did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. But also, you did that.
Yeah. I didn't think I could do stuff, but I think that's also why, going back to like the previous topic of me saying just yes to pretty much any project, I also just like not really having expectations to like, they're like, okay, here, just come in today and we'll see what we can make out of it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
That causes less stress for me, so I'm okay with doing that.
But there is a balance between the two in being a good musician.
Right.
Because, yeah, there are times whenever the stuff is all written and it's, hey, come in, have this music ready. And that's what happens in the band classes is that they go, we're doing these songs, learn them. And
for sure.
When you walk into the room and you go, I don't know, I didn't do the work that you asked me to do.
Man.
That not only reflects on you as a student, but it reflects who you are as a musician and who you're going to be in the industry. And if you show up to a recording session where they asked you, hey, here's the chart or whatever, here's the thing that we're learning, learn it, and you show up and you're like, oh, I just thought I was gonna wing it. And then, well, we're not calling that person anymore.
Yep. See, the first semester that I came, which was last fall of 2017, I had Joe as my first band teacher. And I just remember we had a conversation about this. And he's like, if you are going to be, and I'm going to remember this conversation like forever, just because I felt like what he said is just so true.
Right.
He said, everyone that you will have a band with, or even people that you have classes with, they're all watching you. You may not think that they're watching you, but they will remember you and know if you are the person to call, or if you're the person who's always late and forgets to do their work, or that band member who never was able to be prepared.
Yeah.
Or whatever, for whatever reason, people will remember that. And those are the people who you want to call you for like events and things for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I always made sure that like I'm 30 minutes early to like everything. And then like I practice my stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because I'm also that person who just likes to have things done on time.
Yeah. And I'm also eternally apologizing for never getting back to you about the songs that we were working on.
But, I mean, time is not over, and we are still alive, so we can still work on those songs.
But I do have a recital that I'm working on, so it's like,
we'll work on that first.
Which is my main excuse, but still. Do you want to have a bigger band?
I've already been thinking about having another band that's a little bit more rock based, just because, I don't know, I like doing that stuff too.
Yeah.
And I like having that energy of being a little bit more edgy. So I've already been thinking about having Tanner and then myself and adding a drummer and adding a bass person.
Yeah. So
we could have a different band, but still have bedtime as our main thing.
Is it necessary to like make a side project for all of the things?
I don't know. I guess, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Well, I'm not saying that just because of that, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of thinking out loud that if, I mean, yeah, if the band members are different, that's
Mm-hmm.
probably a sign for a
Mm-hmm.
different name.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's all like led by the same
Mm-hmm.
person, then
You know, you're probably right. I guess it's more of like I'm thinking genre-wise, like that's the only reason why I would want to make it a different name. But I don't know. But at the same time, there's like this really big part of me that's like, why do I only have to like stick to one genre? Like, why can't I be this band or artist and also do all of these other genres within that name?
Yeah.
It's a question that I ask myself a lot.
Right. And that's actually a hole that I've been trying to avoid myself, in that I have been putting everything out as just my name, because I don't want to just be like, the first stuff I ever put out per se, that's just my SoundCloud, was electronic ambient music. But then I started writing songs, and I have songs with like a band and stuff, and then composition stuff. So maybe video gamey stuff or film scoring stuff, or even just proper compositions. That's still me. And I don't really want to put a different name under it, because it's all
you.
Me. Plus, it would get even more confusing if it was just like, my electronic ambient stuff is, blah, blah, blah. And this, and it's all like 3 different people or something. And that gets hard to keep track of.
Right.
Or making 3 different Instagram accounts.
I know. Social media. I only like Instagram, and that's about it. I don't really care for any of the others, because I'm not really active on any of the others.
And I kind of mentioned this earlier, but you're good at social media.
Thank you.
What does that even mean, to be good at social media?
I don't even know. I didn't even really consider myself good at social media. I guess I didn't really start posting stuff until last spring. And that's just because I started modeling for fun, mostly to like stick it to all the modeling agencies that didn't want me. So I'm like, look at me. I'm still modeling. I don't need an agency.
Sure.
But I also just think it's fun. Like, it's just it's another creative thing that I just like to put on makeup and be a character, I guess, of whatever I'm trying to portray in those photos.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for thinking that I'm good.
Yeah. Well, no, because it's a weird thing, but like and they probably teach this in all of the classes and all of the weird courses that you can take on YouTube or something. But like having a structure to your posts and having a pattern that people go, oh, this is Ellie's post, and I already recognize that, because you have like the thing where you have like a song quote, and you have your picture, and like then you have the hashtags, and it's like, it's all like nicely set up.
Thank you. Thank you. I did think about those. Like, each picture that I post, I try to like have it match with either the mood I'm feeling that day or like the mood that I was like thinking about during the picture. So, yeah. And then it also gives me a chance to like talk about music that I like and hopefully have people listen to it, which I don't know if they do or not, but hey.
Yeah.
I did it.
But already, like, you're putting out this vibe of like, hey, it's like poetic, it's pretty. I mean, you have professional photography, and so yeah, like you can have like phone selfies on your social media, but like it's really cool to see like, oh, these are all professional pictures. And so it makes your image look more solid.
Yes.
And I say that as a compliment, but also as sort of like advice to other people who are trying social media and like, oh, why don't people like my stuff? And it's like, well, like taking a random couch selfie and just being like, mood, that says a different thing than having like a professional photograph and be like, hey, look, I have a show coming up and it's on this day. And it's like, wow, this seems really structured and it looks like they're going to be a good show.
Yeah. And I also try to like, because as much as I like posting the photo shoots that I do, I also like posting stuff about other people and other events, like at least on my Instagram stories, like Magic Munchbox when they had stuff. Like I like posting stuff about theirs. And if I go to their shows, I'll post like my whole story will be about them.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think is also good because as much as like I know it's supposed to be about yourself, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to see someone's Instagram post and it's only about them the whole entire time. And I'm just like, okay, got it. Cool. Next.
Yeah. No, and that's really good because that's actually something else I've been wanting to talk to you about is that you're good at supporting local music.
Oh, yes.
I'm really bad at that. I guess I don't know what the question is, but like, how? Why?
How and why? Okay, so most of the bands that I usually post are bands that are like I have friends that are in the bands. Like, for instance, Chelsea Days. I'm going to go to their show on this Friday, but before Chelsea Days, 2 of the band members in that band had love seats. And I worked with Ashton, who is one of the vocalists in that band. But I'm like, we go to school together. We work together. We're friends. Like, I might as well support you. Like, I like your stuff. Same with, like, Munchbox. There's like, really trippy, alternative, funky music thing. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm like, that's great. Cool. They have also just watching them perform on stage is a whole nother level of
back to that performing thing. Whenever you perform like the music feels, it makes the experience
exactly.
That much better.
And I'm like,
and they perform.
And it's funny because I know all of them, and I'm like, where did you guys go? Where did you come from?
Yeah.
Who is this other person on stage?
Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Sorry, you said like 2 of the lines, so.
I mean, you had to throw it in there at some point. Same with like Useless Randy. Like they have cool stuff. I'm all about, we're all artists. I don't see why we have to make everything competition. Like we might as well just support each other.
Yeah.
If we're all going for this.
Yeah. And the hard part too is that I've been seeing this conversation happening that it seems like the music industry, at least here, is mostly being supported by other musicians.
Right.
And that makes it super hard for us to even like get above a threshold of being accepted as a music industry.
It's a common theme that I've definitely noticed through shows that I've been to. Because one that I went to for Munchbox on 89th Street, like most of the people there were mostly band members.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's kind of like, it's great. Like, I'm glad that bands have the courtesy to stay there because I think that that's a courtesy that all people in bands should have because a lot of them don't do that. I'm like, you're in this. Why aren't you here? Anyway. That's another tangent.
I'm bad about that as well.
We all have our moments, but like, I don't know. And then it's just like either them and then a few friends that they invited. And it's just like, why is no one else listening to this?
Yeah.
More people should be invested. A lot of it, I feel like, is lack of advertisement that's happening, like, in the city.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't feel like 89th Street or, like, what's that?
Well, I mean, I think they do. It's just that, like, it can only go so far.
So far, yeah.
Because who's following the music venues?
Right.
People that go to the music venues
places.
or people that want to play
Mm-hmm.
at those music venues. I follow a bunch of music venues on social media because I want to play on on their stages.
Mm-hmm.
But if like the Gazette isn't posting enough about, and they are posting a lot about the local music scene, but for example, if the OK Gazette isn't posting about the music scene, then how is everyone else going to know that, hey, look, there's a music scene, there's things that are worth going to? If the Oklahoman and like any local news, like TV stations aren't sharing that, hey, look, here's ACM, hey, look, here's all the places that music is happening. If we don't encourage the fact that, like, there's a scene here.
There's a thing. Check us out.
But, like, instead it's just, oh, hey, I came to your show. Will you come to my show? And that's hard because there's only so many of us. And then the rest of us that are still trying to keep afloat might just, like, fall off. And then the rest of us will fall off.
Yeah.
Even bands that, like, our teachers here are in, with the exception of, like, the Flaming Lips, obviously. I don't think they necessarily have that problem in the same way.
I don't think so.
But the fact that, like, Equilibrium doesn't have, like, a packed house all the time, even though, like, Chris Hicks and Than Medlem are top-notch musicians. And also Than Medlem is Jesus. But that's a separate point. Like, the fact that even our instructors, who are, to us, the best musicians that we've seen, they're struggling. It's like, then how are we supposed to
make it?
Yeah, by ourselves. Also, Adam Ledbetter, who is just a monster at everything that he does. He's so good. But, like, yeah, I'm more just saying that non-musicians need to support local music.
Yes.
Even outside of Oklahoma City and Tulsa or whatever Oklahoma. I know this is an Oklahoma-based podcast because of where I am. But anywhere else, like, go ask around and go, oh, hey, where is there live music? Because your favorite band started out playing local venues. Whether that's just a bar every other week or, you know, some sketchy area venue that, like, it's a gig.
It's a gig.
It might pay, maybe.
Maybe. Question mark. Only in food.
Right. And that's a whole separate problem.
Yeah.
That Dr. Pants not getting paid is ridiculous.
It is.
First of all, because who would hurt that man?
I know. He's so nice. He likes donuts.
Yeah. He gives everyone donuts.
Exactly.
He's probably at a loss from just, like, throughout the course of playing music. He's probably spent more money on donuts than actually, like, venues have been paying him. I don't know. Maybe, like, stuff has been cool in the past. But, like, I mean, I remember in a class he said that publishing actually made him a lot more money than, like, playing gigs. Because I think donuts was on the Today Show or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, hey, here's a cool paycheck. It's like, whoa, great, thanks.
Yay, money.
As opposed to like, you know, planning weeks to months to put together a set list and rehearse and then put a show together, and then a certain venue that will not be named being like, no, sorry, is like, that's just, why should we even play here then?
Exactly.
Why should we play anywhere then?
And it kind of sucks because I feel like a lot of venues are kind of like that. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the point of only getting $10? Mm-hmm. What's the point of playing then? Yeah. And you're playing like for a good solid hour. Yeah, a lot of the time. That's a lot of energy. And I don't think a lot of people realize that that's a lot of energy that you're putting out there. You're showing people your music and you're giving it your all. Right. Just so at the end of the night you get some lousy $10 if you get anything at all.
Right, exactly. And if it's like, and also venues that are, oh, hey, we want a full big band. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, cool. Then instead of splitting it between 1 or 2 people, you're splitting it between 5 people. Mm-hmm. And so now you have to, now everyone gets even less because you wanted a bigger sound at your thing. Right. And so, yeah, it sucks because as much as I'm an idiot and don't show up to local shows because I'm like, I can't be paying $10 every other night. Oh, geez. It adds up.
I feel that. It does add up. It does add up. I think that's also why I definitely go to free shows because I know I can pay the free $99 fee. Yeah. Not 10.
Right. But the musicians aren't making money off of that. And it sucks because it's like, again, it's all the musicians that are supporting the other musicians. And we're like, we're not making money. Are you? No. I mean, that's why I'm here.
Cool. We're all in the same boat. Yeah. We're just all poor together. Yep.
But yeah, no. Your favorite band started out as a local band.
Think about that. You may find your new favorite band in a local venue.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a magic and non-magic in that as well. Because earlier we were talking about like, oh, like the Beatles and blah, blah, blah. And they played at some bar in Germany for ever, like 8-hour-long sets. And I mean, would you go back in time and see the Beatles in that time and be like, oh my gosh, these are the Beatles? Like, no, you
probably thought, shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
They're terrible.
Yeah. And they probably were. But it took all of that work for them to become the Beatles. So, I mean, we're putting in that work too, but we can't go anywhere if there's no one
else
helping.
Listening. Yeah. Because I'm sure all these bands love listening to us, but they're probably tired of listening to us over and over again, supporting the same artist. Yeah. But thank you.
Yeah. And I feel kind of weird, like, putting the same set list or a similar set list together for the people that I know will be there that were at my last show. Because it's like, sorry, guys, this is just the same song again.
You're going to have to listen to it again.
Yeah. It's like, I like this song. I don't think you like this song the 12th time.
But hopefully you kind of still like it.
Thanks for being here, though.
I appreciate your presence.
Yeah. But the more people that show up, the more people that song is new to them. So.
More people should come out.
Yeah. Is there a better way of doing this?
Oof.
You did business school. There's something there, right? I don't know.
I did. I mean, I guess it's all back to promotion for me. And it's not like, because I was also talking about Ryan Hendricks about this. about promotion and stuff like that. And we were talking about a specific band on Monday. And we were talking about, like, okay, is it the venue's fault or is it the band's fault that they're not promoting enough for their show? And I think we both came up to the conclusion of, like, a venue can only promote your band so much.
Right.
I feel like if you have a band and you want to go far in it, you and your bandmates need to, like, do your best to, like, promote it. Even if you hate social media. Because people look at social media. That's the truth. Like, no one really gets a newspaper and is like, oh, that band's playing that day. Let's go see them. Like, no one really does that anymore.
Yeah.
So I think social media is...
Also, if you're buying a newspaper, like, why are you have better investments to make, but sorry, go ahead.
Why are you wasting paper like that? Such a waste of paper.
Right. But social media,
I think, is a lot of it. I think I see, like, bands like Munchbox, like, I always see them posting something.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. Same with my friends, Chelsea Days. Like, they're a new band, but they're always posting something at least every week about stuff that they're working on. Oh, look, listen to this song that we just started making. You should check it out when you come see us live or whatever. So I think a lot of it is, like, bands and even, like, each person in the band promoting in their own social media should, like, do that. And I think that helps.
Yeah. I still suck at social media. And then, like, the other part is that for me, it takes a long time because I'm posting all of the links to wherever else anyone can get the podcast. And so it's like, it's a lot of copy pasting.
It is.
But, like, I'm just lazy. But no, I think that, that will always have an impact as long as people are seeing that. Just don't go to my Facebook because it's all memes.
Unless you want memes.
Yeah. Yeah, if you friend me and you're like, oh, what is this? All it is memes. It's like...
That's the point.
You know, you knew you were getting...
Memes are important.
Yeah. Is there anything else to add on that local scene topic?
No, just keep supporting us local artists.
Yeah. How else can we make money? That's not a rhetorical question. That's like an actual question. How else can we make money?
I mean, for me, I am interested in a lot of aspects of the music industry. Yes, performing and writing music is my favorite form. But I also find, like, being a booking agent is, like, another cool thing to venture into. So that would be cool. I also have seen a lot of my friends who do photography. Like, that's another form of, like, you doing art and also getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think a lot of people I don't think realize, like, to be an artist, you need to have more than just one hat. Sure. You need to have multiple hats to
especially
be successful.
Nowadays.
Yeah. Or you're just not gonna eat.
Yeah.
I would say, like, Nick is one of my people that I look up to. Nick Lay, Ryan Hendricks, Sephra, like, all of them, they have so many hats that they play, so many roles that they dive themselves into. Like, production, I want to learn production.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of silly if you are a singer and you're like, I don't want to learn that. That's too hard. Like, why not? You should just know it. Like, even if you don't know exactly what it is and you're just exploring, messing with it, you could have a conversation with someone who is also in production and be like, hey, this one thing I did one time, I just pressed this button and I think we should try it for this. And then they would be like, oh, okay, cool. I know what you're talking about. Like, even having that dialect with someone in production can make it so much easier for you to communicate with someone.
Yeah, well, and as a producer myself and engineer, that, like, it is super helpful whenever someone is, hey, I know that this is my like output setup. So if you want to, do it this way, that'll make your job easier. And it's like, great. Thanks for knowing that, so that whenever I'm setting stuff up, it doesn't mess me up anymore. I actually really liked that. It wasn't this time, but last year, a band had a keyboard, and they were like, hey, yeah, the left one doesn't work, so do the right output. I was like, great. That saved me like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's little things like that. Or even taking the live sound class, that has helped me so much.
Yeah.
Learning how to, when you're in a studio or if you're in a band, learning how to wrap cables and like pick up your stuff and move on. That way someone else can go into the studio or like put up their stuff for their next set. Like that makes it so much easier.
Over under, please.
Yes.
I normally just don't let other people wrap up cables, even if it's like, oh, we set up a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'll be in the other room like breaking stuff down. They're like, is there anything I can do? And I'm like, no, the rest is just rolling up cables. And you'll do it wrong. Please do not.
Please do not touch it.
But yeah, I really appreciate whenever someone, like a performer, hands me a rolled up cable that is correct, and I'm like, yes, so much time saved. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's the little things. Everyone.
I know, it really is. I remember one night I was in the studio and it was on the second floor, and we knew that we were like cutting it close. Like it was almost time for us to leave. And we already heard like the other people coming in, and it finally hit 9, and literally in 8 minutes we picked up everything, and there was like a full like drum kit, there was guitar, we had those sound boxes set up and stacked. We picked it all up in like less than 8 minutes. And Stuart was like, oh my God, like I've never seen anyone pick up this room so fast. That saved so much time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think little things like that, that musicians, singers should probably like think about.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing that you were talking about, that like Joe had said, that everyone that you're interacting with is like, they remember you, they're watching you. And while these are like fun, friendly, musical relationships, these are also professional relationships. And so whenever you do break down a room really quickly and really well, hey, look, these people are considerate of our time and each other's time. I like them. I'm going to be happy the next time that they're here. I would be happy to work with them. All of that adds up.
Right.
But if you're a diva over emails and over like whenever someone's running sound for you, you're not going to get a call back. So just be kind.
Yeah, be kind. Be helpful if you can.
Be respectful of people's time.
All important things.
Yeah. Cool. Where can we find you and your things?
You can find me on Flowerboy, but boy with an I, _94 for Instagram, because that's where I mostly do all my social media.
Yeah.
But also I have a Twitter now, and it's under the same name. So
yeah.
And then Snapchat, if you're into that. But
and then your band.
And then my band. We are Bedtime the Band. You can find us on Instagram. I was about to say social media. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, SoundCloud, Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you again for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me.
An interesting ride of conversation topics. We eventually landed on music and stayed there. But, we knew we would.
Yeah. It's music. We're into music. It's a thing.
Really? We like music?
Who
would have thought?
Me, I don't like music.
Oh, okay. Well, you're doing pretty well.
Thank you. That's a lie. I love music.
Well, I'm Santiago Ramones.
And I am Ellie Tostado.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music. You can download my demo, Songs with Words, for free, or you can pay for it for however many monies you want to pay for. I have a show, 2 shows coming up. April 10th is an electric pizza show, which is free pizza. And free electronic experimental music that will involve more than just the trio that is known as Power Cycle. It will be Power Cycle and friends. So prepare yourself for weird experimental music and free pizza. It's free. It's at the Jazz Lab, 7:30.
It's free.
Yeah.
Free.
April 10th. And then the next day, it's my graduate composition performance. I am in grad school for music composition, and this is the culmination of all of the things that I've been doing for it. It's been a lot, and it's been really hard to get all of these musicians together and playing all the same stuff so that I can put on a show for you. If there was ever a show that you were ever like, okay, I guess I'll go, make it this one, because this is the biggest thing that I've put together.
The awesome thing.
And there will be cool electronic music. There's going to be some choir stuff. There's going to be a brass quintet, some piano solos, and I'm navigating the ideas of music and technology in the future and all of the philosophical concepts that may be involved in all of that. As well as just like some cool stuff that I wrote and some video games and some people that we talked about and are in the room may or may not be singing in that thing.
Yeah.
So yes, that is the culmination of all of my stuff. Go to the Jazz Lab at 7:30 on April 11th.
It'll be fun.
It'll be great. I'm super excited and also very anxious. It's a lot. But seriously. But also, you can find this podcast on my website, santiagoramones.com, as well as on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Play, and Spotify, and Stitcher, I think. Yeah. I was on my podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails. It's going to be okay. I might be wrong.